Hi everybody, welcome back to 8th grade art online. We are going to be learning today how to add a dresser into our 1-point perspective scene. So here's what you need for this. First of all, you need the worksheet that says making a dresser in 1-point perspective. If you don't have a printer, that is not a problem. You can just look at this worksheet on your screen. Second thing you need is the same drawing that you've been working with for the last 3 lessons, and you're going to just continue to add to it. You, at this point, should have a door, a window, and a bed. If you don't have those 3 things, you do need to go back and make sure those 3 things are in before you move on to adding the dresser. If you don't have this worksheet because you didn't have a working printer, remember that this could have been done on a separate sheet of paper by just drawing a big square on that paper and working inside it. You also need a ruler or a straight edge. Remember, feel free to use the side of a folder or book, and you need a pencil. Okay, so as always, you really have to follow along really well with what your worksheet says. And if you follow along and really focus on what it says, then you can't go wrong here. So the first thing you want to do is you want to make a rectangle that's parallel to the side of your square. Made that line a little high. Don't make this rectangle too high like I did. You want to make a rectangle, and the corner of the rectangle sits on this diagonal line where the floor meets the wall. That's where the corner of it sits. You don't want the rectangle to be too wide, and you want the rectangle to be kind of parallel to the walls and the floor. And always use your straight edge, really important. And if you kind of went over a little bit, you can fix it. And that's what it should look like, okay? And you can also erase the diagonal line that's still in this rectangle. You don't need that anymore. This is basically going to be the side of your dresser. The next step that it says is you connect these 3 corners only of this rectangle. You connect them to your vanishing point. So you want to line up your ruler or straight edge with the corners and the vanishing point. And I'm actually not going to cross the bed. I'm just going to go like this, because by going like that, that's going to give me less erasing to do later. And now I'm going to line up this corner with the ruler and with the vanishing point, touching the corner of this dresser and the vanishing point. And I'm going to go like that. I did not cross the bed because that will save me time later in not erasing so much stuff. And I'm going to line up the vanishing point now with this last corner here. Just like that, okay? Then you're going to look at the next step. The next step says you need to give your dresser another side. This is one side of it, and you need to kind of end it. And you want to end it before this wall starts, okay? So the line that I'm going to make is to the right of that wall line. Nice parallel line that's parallel to the others, okay? And then the next step is you have to give it a back. It needs an ending in the back too. Because it's got a front, it now needs a back. So I'm going to try to make sure it's parallel to this line. All this parallel stuff is something you're going to really have to focus on, and you'll get better with practice. And basically, you now have the shape of a dresser. And when you follow the next step says all those diagonal lines that you don't need anymore, now it's time to erase those lines. So hopefully you have drawn them lightly. That's the key. One of the key things to 1-point perspective is you got to draw lightly, because you do so much erasing with 1-point perspective. That's why I decided not to cross the lines of my bed. Anything that you messed up, you can just fix, not a problem. And also on the inside, there's this diagonal line that's going to get fixed, okay? So I now have kind of a box that's in 1-point perspective, and that box in a couple minutes is going to become the dresser, okay? So then what you're going to do is you're going to make a bunch of diagonal lines, 6 to be exact, and those are going to become your drawers, okay? So you're going to line up with your vanishing point, and again, I'm not going to make my line go all the way into the bed because I don't want to have do so much erasing. I'm just going to kind of have it end early. And all these are touching the vanishing point. So they're kind of touching the dresser and the vanishing point at the same time. Just follow along with the worksheet and you can't go wrong. It might be confusing to watch me do this, but if you actually look at that worksheet, I think it will become a little more clear. The dresser is definitely a little harder than the bed. So if anybody has any questions, just feel free to make an appointment with me at Academy. And these are going to really start to look like drawers now. And then in the next step, you're going to realize that you have to make sides of the drawers. So I'm going to make one straight line that's parallel to the side of the dresser here, and another straight line that's parallel to the side of the dresser here. And that's going to basically become like the sides of the drawers. At this point, you're now ready to erase some of those lines you don't need anymore, and you're going to really start to see that it's going to look like a dresser with drawers. All these lines go away. I can fix this line here that I messed up. I want to take your ruler and do that. Always try to use your straight edge. Got that line back. That's the side of my wall. And I'm going to erase this line I don't need anymore, and this line I don't need anymore. Any lines that you don't need anymore, those just go away. And then probably you're going to have to do a little bit of fixing up and get some of the lines back. Like the side of my dresser kind of went away a little bit. And I'm going to get these lines back. And this line back. And now it looks like a dresser with drawers. And you could leave it like that. Some dressers don't really have handles, but a nice detail to make it look even more realistic and super easy is you can just put a little circle in the middle of each one. And it looks like you've got little handles there. And that is how you add a dresser using 1-point perspective. In the next lesson, we're going to actually learn how to add even more to this room. See you next time.